There was a light rainfall. Everything that is auspicious is always, we always see that association with rainfall. There was a gentle, light rainfall which started. It was not an ordinary rainfall. It was actually a blissful shower of medicines. It was a blissful shower of medicines, Aushada, Divya Aushada, instantaneously curing everyone on the planet of all kinds of afflictions, physical and mental. After all, it was the descent of the Parama Aushada, the Krishna Aushada. Vyamoha prasamaushadam munimano pravrityaushadam daityendrattikaraushadam trijagatam sanjeevanaikaushadam bhaktatyanta hitaushadam bhavabhaya pradhamsanaikaushadam shreyah praptikaraushadam pibhavana Sri Krishna divyaushadam. The cure-all of all afflictions of this universe, the elixir, the eternal elixir, Sri Krishna Aushada, was, his grace was pouring down gently on the planet even before his descent, and the minds of the sadhus all over was filled with delight, filled with happiness. There was no distress in any heart, and at the same, the entire cosmos was rejuvenated. At the same time, there was panic. There was also panic that was caused in the hearts of the asuras. Shreyah prapti karaushadam pivamana Sri Krishna divyaushadam. This magical rainfall of Krishna Aushada also caused the rise of love in all beings. At the moment of the descent, a magical transformation unfolded, and the entire world was enveloped in sublime bliss. It was as though everybody was gently caressed by an enchanting charm of divine joy. Karacharana saroje kantiman netramine Shramamushi Bubuvichi Vyakule Agada Marge Harisarasi Vigahyapi Tejo Vulaugham Bhavamaru Parikinnaha Kedamadyatjami. Just imagine being a tired traveler, tormented by hot sun in scorching summer in a desert, tormented by the heat in the middle of the scorching summer. You find a cool pond, and then you immerse yourself in the cool pond and start tasting that nectarine water. How invigorating can this experience be? If this can be invigorating, what can we term the experience of dipping ourselves? Harisarasi vigahyapiya tejo laugham. If we dip ourselves in the emerald colored pool, Harisaras, the pool, the pond of Krishna Anubhava, dipping in the exquisitely elevating Krishna Anubhava is like having an electrifying embrace of Krishna. And all the lotuses in the pond are like Krishna's arms gently caressing us. And the fishes in the pond remind us of the bewitching, breathtakingly beautiful, broad eyes of Krishna. At the time of descent, not just the bhaktas, every entity on the planet, living and non-living, was immersed in the nectarine emerald pool of Harisaras. Momentarily, all the scorching sorrows of samsara were completely washed away. Such was the divine moment. The stars were twinkling, no doubt, but the eyes of all the living entities on the planet were also twinkling with jubilation, and it seemed like there was competition between the stars and the twinkling eyes on the planet. And there was a moment when it looked as though all the stars descended at the same time on Bhuloka. At that very auspicious moment, there was mellifluous music that spread across the Brahmanda. Kettle drums reverberated from all the Urdhvalokas. Gandharvas and Kinnaras started to sing. Vidyadharas and Apsaras started to dance joyfully. The Devatas showered flowers in a jubilant mood, and all the Rishis began to chant the Vedas. Not to be left behind, even the clouds, the dark clouds that collected to witness the divine descent, also started to mildly thunder as though joining the Veda chanting along with the Rishis. In the heart of the dark prison cell, a divine radiance enveloped Devaki Mata. A divine radiance enveloped her completely, and it was that divine day of Ashtami. And wonder of wonders, it was Ashtami, no doubt, but Chandra Bhagavan was rightfully so, was filled with pride. He knew that Bhagavan has decided to descend in Chandravamsa. So even though it was the day of Ashtami, the moon was beaming like a full moon, glowing like a full moon, and it is on that day of Ashtami, the time which is celebrated as Jayanti. Jayanti Sambhavam Dhama. Jayanti is that sacred time when Shravana Bahulashtami and Rohini Nakshatra come into contact with each other. Tasya madhye vannishika aniyordva vyavastitah nilatoyada madhyastha vidyullekeva bhasvara nivara shukavadhanvi pita bhasva thanupama tasya shikhaya madhye paramatma vyavastitah. Just like how a divine streaking thunder, lightning appears amidst, enveloped by dark, deep clouds in the hearts of the yogis, just like how the Paramatma appears, there was that kind of divine streak of light that emanated. Nishite tam udbhute jayamane janardane devakhyam devarupinyam vishnu sarvaguhasayaha avirasit yata prachyam vishinduriva pushkalaha. Nishite tama udbhute jayamane janardane. That Janardhana, that Jagannatha, the Sarvaloka Rakshaka, Apara Karunya Saushilya Vatsalya Audadya Saundarya Mahodadhe Achintya Divyadbhuta Nitya Yavvana Swabhava Lavanyamaya Amrita Sagara Atimanohara Mandasmita Mukham Bhoja Satyakama Satyasankalpa Purushottama Vaikunthanatha Narayana Bhuvana Sundara Jayamane Janardane Devakyam Devarupinyam Vishnuhu Sarvaguhashayaha. Then and there Bhagavan manifested as the divine child of the blessed Devaki, Devakyam Devarupinyam. Just like how the yogis could see Paramatma in their hearts, Devaki and Vasudeva now could see that Bhagavan, that Vaikunthanatha manifest right in front of them. Avirasid yata prachyam dishinduriva pushkalaha. In the dense darkness of night, like the full moon rising, not one full moon, thousands of moons put together, that splendor that generates, Bhagavan manifested. Sri Krishna Paramatma descended on Bhuloka. What a blessing to Devaki. How blessed was Vasudeva. He could immediately sight that Divyamangala Vigraha of Bhagavan. Tamadbhutam balakam ambuchekshanam chaturbhujam shanka gadadyudayudam Shivatsalakshmam galashovi kaustubam Pitambaram sandra payoda saubagam Maharha vaidurya kirita kundala Tushaparishvakta sahasra kuntalam Uddhama kanchangada kankanadibihi Virochamanam Vasudeva Maikshata. Vasudeva Maikshata. Vasudeva was the blessed one who could sight Bhagavan. He could see Bhagavan on Devaki's lap. Tamadbhutam balakam. Not an ordinary balaka. This is Adbhuta balaka. Paramatma, Parabrahmanan, Narayana manifested in his original form. But he was on the lap of Devaki, and Vasudeva had horripilations all over. Tamadbhutam balakam ambujekshanam. He could see that divine lotus-like eyes, that bewitchingly beautiful, breathtakingly beautiful eyes. Chaturbhujam, the four arms, Shanka Gadadyudayudam, armed with his divine ayudhas. Srivatsalakshmam, the divine mark of Shriyapati. Srivatsalakshmam Galashobi Kaustubam. He could see the Kaustubha Ahara, Pitambaram, dressed in yellow, Sandra Payoda Saubhagam. What a divine hue. It was the hue of a dark blue rain-bearing cloud. Such was Bhagavan's magnetic beauty. Pitambaram Sandra Payoda Saubhagam. Maharha Vaidurya Kirita Kundala. wearing a kirita which was decorated with the most beautiful gems. Tvisha parishvakta sahasra kuntalam. Not only that, here was the wonder of wonders. The kirita was brilliantly illuminated by scattered full-grown hair. Krishna's hair, after all, he is Keshava. Therefore, his hair was scattered and glowing all over. Uddama kanchangada kankanadibihi, Uddama kanchangada, with brilliant belt, go arms, armbands, bracelets, Uddama kanchangada kankanadibihi, Virochamanam Vasudeva Maikshata, Virochamanam, very beautifully decorated. Why was Bhagavan so beautifully decorated? All his Divyabharanas, we need to understand, are exquisitely beautiful, no doubt. But their beauty is borrowed from Bhagavan. The Divyabharanas don't add to Bhagavan's beauty. On the other hand, they get beautiful only because they adorn the Bhuvana Sundara. Bhagavan, when he wears his Divyabharanas, his beauty is little concealed. Only when he removes the Divyabharanas, his limitless beauty is revealed. So therefore, Bhagavan here does not want to reveal his limitless beauties. Therefore, he came down wearing every possible Divyabharanas, nicely trying to conceal his divine beauty, but still that couldn't stop Vasudeva from experiencing that bliss, not just once in a lifetime, it is possibly one in a millions of lifetimes.